Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. I hope everybody Tuesday has been amazing. When you watch this, it will be Wednesday. But as I am recording it, it is Tuesday, and today is day 6 out of 29 for the call of action walking that I'm doing with my online church. So y'all, I just got back from the gym. Let me tell y'all something here. God don't miss a beat, okay? He don't miss a beat at all. So I'm going to try to give this to y'all as God gave it to me and make this story time as short and concise as possible. So as I'm in the gym, on the treadmill doing my 30 minutes, I happen to see one of my old representatives. And this particular representative, so special to the seeds that God planted in me years ago. So at the time that this particular gentleman was on my team, it was during Ramadan, and he's of the Islamic faith. And I felt so bad for him this particular day because he'd been consistently praying. He'd been consistently fasting every day during the same time. He would take his break and go pray. And this particular day, or on a particular day, he could not find no place to pray. All the meeting spaces were taken up, and I felt so bad for him because he'd been so disciplined and so diligent to the devotion that he had to God. And so fast forward, he no longer was with the company, but we moved buildings. And when we moved buildings, the new building that we were in had a prayer room. They had a room designated for prayer. And I felt so happy and elated for this. And I'm be real. And God reminded me, not even for me, but for someone like my representative who had a devotion to God. And so, long story short, after about 2 years or so, there were complaints about the prayer room, and they made the decision that they were going to do away with the prayer room. And so God told me to speak up about it. And so God, I prayed. I asked God for strategy. How do you want me to address this? God told me how to write the letter, who to address the letter to, all of this. And then I said, okay, well, God, what if they say, no, they're not going to change the prayer room back? God told me, well, then you're going to need to resign. Okay. So I write this letter out of obedience, send it to the people. Long story short, the people was like, yeah, we appreciate all of that, but we're getting rid of the prayer room. And it was a very politically correct response that they are politically incorrect, however you want to look at it. We operate in the kingdom, okay? But they gave a response, and so long story short, I had to resign. I resigned from my corporate career, and that really was the reason. And so I never really shared that with anybody, because when people would ask me, all I would tell them was, God told me it's time. I prayed about it, I'm sure. And a part of me was a little embarrassed to admit why I was actually resigning from my corporate career. And God reminded me today, seeing evidence erupting. Today, like throughout the whole day, God was speaking discipline to me. So I'm like, okay, seed erupting, seeing evidence erupting through discipline. And then when I saw my rep tonight in the gym, God then dropped another word in my spirit, devotion. And so I'm gonna try to wrap this up once again. Stay focused, Deidre. Someone asked me last night, how did I get to the place of deciding that I was going to change the way I was eating and lose the weight and keep it off? And I mean, long story short, I told them that it really came down to my seek. When my seek with God changed, when my seek changed, Matthew 6:33, seek the face of God first, seek his kingdom first, and all these things will be added unto you. When I started seeking God, that's when my discipline changed. When my devotion to God changed is when everything else started aligning. And so as a believer, I believe that the same God that my representative was praying to is the same God of all gods, is the same God that sent Jesus Christ. And so for me, if my people, this is God speaking, would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, I had to, like, God has done such an inner work in me, because I had to realize that, yes, the God of all gods did send Jesus Christ, but that is not the only love story he wrote. He wrote the love story for the person who was so devoted to praying and seeking him during Ramadan that they searched a 3-story building for a place to meet with him. Like, that's the same God. And so for me, y'all, seek. Okay, like I know I was saying seeing, but if we turn our seek on, seeking will lead to evidence of evolving discipline. Seeking will lead to evidence of evolving devotion. Seek first, and all these things will be added unto you. So y'all, I hope that makes sense. I hope that's for somebody. Like, reach out and grab it if it's for you, okay? And know that this last thing is just on my heart. Know that we don't got all the answers. But if you are adamant that your way is the only way and your way is the right way, you're missing so much when it comes to God. So as always, I love y'all, and Jesus Christ loves y'all so much more. Y'all have a good night.